Now let us take a simple table. A simple table consisting of three columns. So basically you have a customer column, customers who are purchasing products, and amount. It's a very simple table consisting of three columns. One is the customer, the second one is the product, and third one is amount. And the volume of data that we have in this table is more than 2 trillion records. The volume of data is more than 2 trillion records. The table is very small, only three columns, and the data that you have is more than 3 trillion, more than 2 trillion records. Now you're trying to ask a very simple questions on this table. The questions are very simple questions like, okay, get me who are my top 5 customers. So we're trying to ask simple questions like who are my top 5 customers. So out of 2 trillion records that we have, we only need to get 5 records to the top. So this is the question that we're asking to 2 trillion records. So out of these 2 trillion records, it has to get only 5 records. If this table and if this data is on a database which is MS SQL, let's say the database that holds this table is MS SQL. To answer this question, it takes more than 8 hours. And if the same question and the same table and the same data is on HANA, the time it takes is less than 6 seconds. To answer this question takes less than 6 seconds, whereas in MS SQL it takes more than 8 hours. Now, what are the reasons behind a simple question taking this much time to answer in 6 seconds? So the reasons are, the basically 3 reasons that HANA is extremely high performance. The basically 3 reasons. So the first reason is in-memory DB. It's an in-memory database. The second one, it's a column-oriented DB. What's happening? Just give me a second. I think it got disconnected. And today it was really a bad day. I'm just trying to connect from last half an hour and got disconnected. Again, it got disconnected. Okay, anyways. So hope everyone can hear me again. Hope everyone is able to hear me. Yeah, thanks. So basically there are 3 reasons behind it. The first one is it's an in-memory DB. The second one, it's a column-oriented DB. And third one, It does massively parallel processing of data. So basically, what is an in-memory database? What is an in-memory database? Now, let us take a simple example. Let's take a computer. In a computer, basically you have three parts. One is the CPU, the second one is RAM, and the third one is disk. The first one being CPU, memory, RAM, and the third one is disk. Now, usually if you see databases like MS SQL, the primary way to store data is always on disk. So the tables are basically the tables with container as well as the content is stored on the disk. For MS SQL, now the same table with the data is on memory. So this is where HANA stores data. So the primary way for HANA to store data is always on RAM. It's on the memory. So now when we say in-memory database, what does this mean? A database is nothing but collection of tables in memory. So the entire database is sitting on memory. Now why is that SAP wanted to separate the content from a container which is basically stored on an iron plate? The same content they wanted to keep it on memory. Now why SAP wanted to basically store the entire database in memory? What is the reason behind it? Now the reasons are, the first reason is memory is 100,000 times faster in processing data. So RAM is faster to process data. And the second reason is, now whenever we try to ask question, now to get the answer, it goes to the CPU and to the memory and to the disk, back from disk to memory and to the CPU and to the front end. So data is basically kept far from memory. It's basically stored in another layer, which is disk. Now when you keep it on memory, you're basically storing data close to the CPU. So you just ask a question, it comes to the memory and goes back to the CPU and to the front end. So there are two reasons. The first reason is RAM is faster in processing data. And the second reason is the data is kept close to the CPU. So that's why in-memory databases have extremely high performance than the databases which choose to store on disk. So two reasons: RAM is faster, data kept close to the CPU. Now coming to the second one, what are column-oriented databases and why column-oriented DBs have extremely high performance? What is the reason behind it? Let us see the reasons. So in this case, we are talking about a table which contains three columns. So the first column is customer, the first column was customer, product, amount. So I'll just copy the same table. So you have the same table data is stored in row and the same table data is stored in column. Now what is the difference between data being stored in row versus data being stored in column? Now what is the difference between this? Now let's say we're trying to insert a record in a table. We're just trying to insert one row. A simple example would be C1, the product is M01, amount is 10. You're trying to insert one row in a table. Now, if you see this row, how it is stored in a file. So basically, when you insert a row in a table, so in the backend it stores in a file. So this is how it stores. So this row is stored over here. So let me take another row C2, M02, and 20. Okay, now this is how it stores data. So in the same way, continuously. Now, when you try to ask a question over here, okay, now who is the top customer? So you're trying to ask a question on a row-oriented table. Who is my top customer? So in order to answer this question, who is my top customer? In order to answer this question, now first it will start the query. It will start from C1, go to M01, 10, C2, M02, 20, and gets the answer back saying that the top customer is C2, amount is 20. Now in this case, in a row-oriented table, it basically has to scan the entire table. So it cannot directly jump from C1 directly to C2 and then so on. So when we try to ask a question on row-oriented table, so basically it tries to scan the entire table. Now what is the disadvantage of storing data in row? Especially in SAP, if you see, there are very few columns that have 2 to 3, there are very few tables. There are very few tables which have 2 to 3 columns. Now most of the tables in SAP, if you see, at an average, there are 20 columns, sometimes tables, even for storing master data, they have 100 columns. Now for financial tables, the tables are as large as 200, 300 columns. Now if a table consisting of 100, 200 or 300 columns, now when you're getting the answer from such a table, you're only getting answer from these tables where the question is basically asking from 2 or 3 columns. So from a 200 column table, you're only requesting data from 2 columns or 3 columns for a particular question. But it has to scan the entire 200 columns. Even your question is based on 2 columns, it has to scan the entire 200 columns and give back the answer. So that is the major disadvantage. You're only trying to request data from 2 or 3 columns, but it has to scan the entire 200 columns. Now, if you're trying to ask the same question on a column-oriented DB, now how does it differ? Please see, I just copy the same data. I'll just try to copy the same data over here. And how does column-oriented basically stores data? Let us see. Now, each column is stored in a separate file. So when you have 3 columns, it basically stores data in 3 files. The first file, customer, the second file, product, the third file is amount. The customer, you have C1, C2, product M01, M02, and amount 10 and 20. Now again the same question, you're trying to ask the same question. Now to answer this, so the question is only based on customer, so it'll basically go to the customer column, so it'll skip product, and then it goes to the amount column, and give the answer back. So in this case, if you have 200 columns, if your question is only based on 2 columns, it only goes to those columns and skips rest of the columns. In here, it cannot skip. It has to basically, if it has to go to C2, then it has to cross M02, 10, and then go to C2, M02. So the advantage of storing data in a column-oriented DB, it can skip unwanted columns and it will only scan columns that are required by the user. So that's the difference. So why HANA called high performance? Due to in-memory database. The advantage of storing data in memory, the first reason is RAM is faster to process data. And the second reason, data is kept close to the CPU. The advantage of storing data in column-oriented DBs, it only scans required columns requested by the user. Now coming to the third one, what is massively parallel processing? So what does this mean? What is this massive parallel processing? And how does it improve performance? Let us say this. Now let me try to take a very simple example. Now if you have a building which has 5 floors, let us take a building which has 5 floors, and you're basically assigning one person to paint the entire 5 floors. So because he's only one, so he has to process the first one, second, third, fourth, fifth. So this is nothing but sequential processing. So one after another he has to process. Now when you have 5 people doing the same work, if you have 5 people doing the same work, then each of them, so first what they will try to do is they will distribute the work. So basically they distribute and then they try to process their part. So each of them will process their part, and finally after processing they assemble the work. After the work is done, they assemble the work and then give back to the owner, saying that the work is done in one day. So if one person wants to paint entire 5 floors, it takes 5 days. Now when you increase the resources to process the same work, it completes in one day. So parallel processing. Now how does this apply to CPUs inside a computer? How do we apply this? Now if you see in HANA, when you take these CPUs, each CPU has multiple cores. So when you have 4 cores inside one CPU, this is known as quad core CPU. It's a quad core CPU. So each CPU in HANA can process 3.5 billion 3.5 billion scans per second per core and 30 million aggregations per second per core. 3.5 billion scans and 30 million aggregations. Now if you have 35 billion records, let's say you have 35 billion records, and if you have only a single CPU that contains a single core. Now to process 35 billion records, it takes 10 seconds. Now if you have a CPU that contains 10 cores, If it contains 10 cores, each CPU can process 3.5 billion scans, then it only takes 1 second. The more the power you have inside a CPU, the less time it takes to process data. Nothing but massively parallel processing. So in massive parallel processing, where larger tables are broken down into smaller subsets, and each subset of a table is processed by different cores of the CPUs. They're processed by different cores of the CPUs, finally assemble the result and give back to the user. So in-memory DB, column-oriented parallel processing is at the core of HANA. So SAP has built this product to have these capabilities at the heart of HANA. So this is all done by HANA itself. Now, basically we don't have any role to play in this area. This is what HANA can do. But what is our role in HANA? So we are known as SAP HANA application consultants. So we are known as an application consultant. So what is the role of an application consultant in a project? So the role of a HANA consultant, the basically three things that we have to perform on a project. The first one is data modeling. The second one is data reporting. The third one is data provisioning. So these are the three things that we have to perform on the project. So if our role basically involves doing 100% of the job, the data modeling itself is 60%. So 60% of the time as a HANA consultant, we have to perform data modeling. And other 20 to 30% is data provisioning, and 20 to 30% is data reporting. Depends. So most of the time we spend our time working on the data models. Now there are several scenarios or landscapes when we work on HANA. So this is one of the landscape I'm trying to draw over here. So one of the landscape I'm taking over here. Now this landscape is known as a sidecar scenario. So we're seeing something called a sidecar scenario. Now when we say a sidecar scenario, what does this mean? It means that we are not going to disrupt the existing solutions that already a company is running. The company will be running its existing landscape as it is, but at the same time they would be running another scenario as a sidecar. So you have the existing solutions. Now you want to implement HANA. So you even have HANA over here. So this is HANA, and to HANA, to get data to HANA, you have different source systems. Source systems are nothing but systems from where data is originated. So in this case, I'll basically take a source system from SAP. So we basically have source system like ECC, CRM. Now from a non-SAP, like IBM DB2, MS SQL, any database, any third-party database. So you have systems from SAP and you have non-SAP systems. So this is where data is originated. Now from these systems, which are running the existing processes, we want to move a copy of data. We want to basically copy the data which is already existing in these systems to HANA. Why? Now, why do we want to copy the data into HANA? Now, the disadvantage is disk versus in-memory. Disadvantage, advantage, in-memory processing, disk processing, row processing, column processing, sequential processing, parallel processing. So that is the reason I would like to have a copy of data from these systems and put in HANA to deliver high performance. In order to copy the data from these systems and put it in HANA, so you have different provisioning methods. So you have different data provisioning methods. Provisioning is nothing but moving of data from these systems to these systems. So the data provisioning methods that we have, the first one is known as SLT. SLT stands for SAP Landscape Transformation. The second one is BODS, Business Objects Data Services. Third one is DXC, Direct Extractor Connection. And the fourth one is Smart Data Access. So these are the different methods. By using these different methods, we can copy data from heterogeneous source systems and put the same data in HANA. Now, why do we have these many methods, first of all? So each method is used in a different scenarios. Now let us take SLT. SLT is primarily used in a scenario when you want to copy data in real time. So what do we mean by copying data in real time? Let's say a sales order is created, a billing document is generated, or a lead is created. So whenever a record is created over here, with a very minimum latency, or a time, data is basically copied in split seconds into HANA. So whenever there is an insert, immediately there is an insert over here. Whenever there is an update, there is an update. Whenever there is a delete, there is a delete. So this is taken care by SLT, which is known as SAP Landscape Transformation. It does data migration in real time. You have an existing system and you have a new system. It copies data in real time. So that is the use case of SLT, to copy data in real time, to replicate data in real time. Now what is the use case for BODS, Business Objects Data Services? The main purpose of BODS is for data quality, data integration. You can apply complex business rules, you can manipulate data, you can cleanse, you can integrate data from heterogeneous source systems. You can perform all kind of complex transformation. You can transform data and finally send to HANA. So BODS is basically a tool where you can do data conversions, you can do data quality cleansing, and finally data is available in HANA. So SLT for real time, and BODS for applying complex transformations. You can transform data. The third one is DXC, Direct Extractor Connection. What is the use of DXC? Now, when HANA was not introduced in market, there are more than 15,500 customers who are using BW. Now, BW is known as a business warehouse. Now, it's basically an analytic system. It's a reporting system. You basically can do all sorts of analytical reporting on BW. So you have a copy of data in ECC. Now, before HANA was introduced, what we used to do is the same data that is available in ECC, we used to copy in BW and do reporting on top of BW. So even the BW systems got very slow over time due to the volume of data that they have. That is the reason we have HANA today. It does extremely high performance. So what does it DXC can do over here? What DXC can do over here is for the customers who are already using BW and have a copy of data from ECC to BW or any other SAP application. Now DXC can take the same copy of data. It can basically take the same copy of data and put in HANA. So what does the DXC do? It enables to get data that is being sent to BW. It can get the same copy of data and put in HANA. Why? For higher performance again. So whatever the reports that we are basically, whatever the questions that you're asking on BW, because we have the same data in HANA, we can ask the same questions on HANA as well. And it is extremely faster over here than doing reporting on here. Now this is when you have BW on non-HANA database. When BW is on not on HANA database, it's on non-HANA. Traditional RDBMS. So DXC basically gets the same copy of data that used to go for BW to HANA, and then you can ask questions over here. So SLT for real time, BODS for applying complex transformation, DXC, and direct extractor connection. When BW is running on traditional RDBMS, you can copy data and put in HANA, and you can enable reporting over here. And the fourth one is smart data access. Now, what is the use of this? A smart data access, you can directly connect to third-party databases. You can connect to third-party databases like IBM DB2, Hadoop, Sybase ASC, any database you can connect, supported databases you can connect, and can get data to HANA. So now, is data physically available in HANA? So when you ask a question, now to get answer for this data, is it physically available in HANA, or in the runtime it goes to the source system and fetch data? So this is basically a remote connection. It's a remote connection. When you ask a question over here, in the runtime, it goes to the source system, fetch data. Any new data it fetches from here. The same data is put in memory. So basically, it doesn't physically store data, it caches data. But it enables to connect to different third-party systems. It can cache data, whatever data that is available over here. It can put in cache memory, and you can access data using smart data access. A data that is accessed smartly. So this is what we do in data provisioning. So data provisioning most of the time helps us to provision data, to copy data from heterogeneous systems, whether it can be real time, whether you want to copy data, and finally data is available in HANA. So once these tables are available in HANA, then we start data modeling. Now based on the business requirement, we get tables from different source systems. And once these tables are available in HANA, then we start data modeling. Now what is data modeling? Data modeling is nothing but defining a relationship between tables. How would you like to join different tables? Now this is known as data modeling. So data modeling is done in a place called HANA Studio. So we have something called HANA Studio. So at the HANA Studio, we do data modeling. So this is a UI, user interface, where a developer can access HANA, known as HANA Studio. So once we do data modeling, and finally is the presentation of data, nothing but data reporting. You want to report data. You want to ask questions on data and present in a very fashionable way, visually stunning reports. These reports can be available on mobile or an iPad or a desktop with rich visualization. Users can ask interactive questions, broader questions, deeper questions, a multi-dimensional question. Means any kind of question they can ask, they can interact with the system continuously to do self-service BI. So developers will never design a question for a user. Users can continuously ask or interact with the system because the system is very fast, efficient. They can ask ad hoc questions and get answers by doing self-service BI. So for basically doing self-service BI, we have different reporting tools from SAP, even from non-SAP. From SAP, you have something called BOBI, Business Objects Business Intelligence Platform. From non-SAP, you have Tableau, TIBCO Spotfire. There are other third-party reporting tools as well that can connect to HANA, where you can present data, not only from BOBI platform, even from third-party reporting tools. So BOBI mainly focus on the presentation of data, data modeling, defining relationship between tables in HANA, and data provisioning, SLT, BODS, DXC, Smart Data Access. So in this course that I'm going to deliver for 45 to 50 hours in a course, what are we basically going to learn? I'll just show you the course content that I'm going to deliver in this course. So in a very high level, I put the course content in here. First of all, we're going to get trained on SP10 HANA. So coming to the modeling topics. So, I divided the course into 3 parts. One is the modeling, reporting, and data provisioning. So in modeling, when we basically talk about modeling, especially in SAP, if you see in SAP, SAP has a standard content that it delivers as a part of certification. SAP has a certification exam. Now, when you want to take up that certification, you have prerequisites. Like, for example, so these are the code numbers. One is HA100, HA300, HA350, HA360, HA900, and S4H01. The course I'm going to deliver will basically cover all the topics in all these different courses that SAP delivers. So HA100 is a book or a code number which gives introduction to HANA. HA300 is a book which delivers implementation and modeling. HA350, so both these two books, one book focus on the introduction to HANA and the second book focus on data modeling. 350 focus on data provisioning, how we can provision data using different data provisioning methods like SLT, BODS, DXC, Smart Data Access, flat files. HA360 are basically different complex assignments. So that I'm going to provide you. So every weekend I'm going to provide you assignments. So these are only the basic assignments. Apart from that, we're going to see end-to-end projects on sales and distribution and finance related projects that I'm going to discuss. The project will be as a part of the course delivery right from the third day. I'll take scenarios that are relevant from my project and explain. Apart from that, you'll get assignments. So 360 mainly focus on the hands-on assignments. So you also have hands-on all these books. Additionally, you have complex assignments. And then HA900 is known as Business Suite powered by HANA. So I was talking about two scenarios. One is a sidecar scenario, when you have an existing systems, how to move data from these systems to these systems. And this is known as a main car scenario. HA900 talks about Business Suite powered by HANA. So it means that when you directly have your application on HANA, so this is not a sidecar, this is called as main car scenario. So in here you have your application over here, you have HANA over here. So this is the sidecar. So HA900 talks about main car scenario. And S4H01, I added this for the existing materials. This is a new code number for S4 HANA. So the course content that I've prepared is basically from all these books, the course and delivery. Now, which view basically means you can write the certification for 2015 edition. So for 2015 edition, so most of the participants in previous batches have written, and I've got successfully more than 90%. So basically, if you see, I'll open this course content now. So modeling in HANA. So creation of attribute views, analytic views, calculation views. So how to create master data models using attribute views, how to create cube-like structures using an analytic view, which is a multi-dimensional object. A calculation view is when you have complex business rules. How to create a calculation view for customized requirement using SQL scripting. And if you see, most of the course HANA is designed, we call it as model to code. When we say model to code means most of the time it is navigation. 90% of the course is navigation. It means that we basically build models, but system generates the code on its own. So we don't have to write any code. System automatically generates the code. But 5 to 10% we have something called SQL scripting. It's very easy. So that we will do it in the calculation views for complex business requirements. So these are the topics in the modeling and best practices in creating information models. What are the best practices we have to follow? Performance optimization. After creating, how we can measure performance. Creating, how we can measure performance. So is this okay? I think my voice is being broken. Is this okay now? Bharat? So is this okay now? Hello? Today is really, when I started, I was not able to start session. Is this okay now? Network is very bad today. Okay, thank you. So I was talking about the course content. So what are the best practices that we have to follow? Performance optimization, currency conversions, how to convert from one currency to a different currency using exchange rates, variables in HANA, which are input boxes for the end users, metadata import export, SQL script, C functions for customized requirement, how to use SQL script C functions, procedures, creating of hierarchies, restricted measures, calculated measures, different kinds of joins in HANA, what is a referential text inner, a documentation. So data reporting, how different tools from BOBI can connect to HANA. So you have different tools in BOBI like Web Intelligence, Design Studio, Lumira, Analysis for Office, Analysis for OLAP, Explorer, Analytics for Cloud. There are different reporting tools. I'm going to show each and every reporting tool and how it can integrate with HANA. So in the data reporting, we're going to see BOBI, like Web Intelligence, Design Studio, Lumira, all these different tools and how they can integrate with HANA and how they can present data. That's on the data reporting side. Coming to the data provisioning. Now coming to the data provisioning side. So hope Bharat, is this okay? I think you still have disturbance, is it?
Sir, it's clear, sir.
Okay. Coming to the data provisioning side, On the data provisioning side, as we just discussed the different data provisioning, we're going to see very detailed on each of the data provisioning like DXC, SLT, BODS, and administration. So I'm going to show you on how to do HANA administration. So all these topics like administration are good to know, but you have a separate role when you are working on a project. We have a separate role actually. Those people are known as HANA administrators. So these guys basically come from SAP basis background. But for us, it is good to know. So I'm going to show you how to do backup recovery, how to do installation of HANA, what is the persistency layer, user management and security, how to create users roles, how to create privileges. So this on the top is the admin and the below was user security. And we're going to see two projects as I just told, COPA, which is from finance, and sales and distribution. From end-to-end project, we are going to see how to build, test, performance, transport, regress testing, and finally preparations for go live. Everything we're going to see end-to-end. And BW powered by HANA. And even for the participants who are basically new to BW or new to HANA and you don't have any concepts about BW. So because I had my previous batches who are not from BW background, but I thought if they have little BW knowledge, that would be always helpful to get a job from the job point of view. So I basically recorded a 30 hours class of mine. I'm going to give the 30 hours class on BW to complement HANA. The course is HANA, but for the participants who would also like to understand the BW from fundamentals, I've recorded those sessions. So you can learn HANA parallelly, you can also learn BW on your own. So those are my sessions, basically delivered for previous batches I've recorded. So I'm going to provide those recordings if participants who are not from BW background. So it can be helpful. It is not mandatory. It's only optional to have a bit BW knowledge. When you basically go to HANA interviews, that will be always better. Especially when you keep experience. If you are a fresher, there is no problem at all. But when you want to keep experience, because HANA is a new product, we cannot keep a lot of experience in HANA. So you can keep a maximum of 3 to 4 years, not more than that. But if you're keeping experience more than 5 or 6 years, obviously we need to keep some, they need to have some background more than 5 or 6 years. Obviously we need to keep some. So just give me 1 minute, I'll just try to change the network. Bharat, is this okay now? Mr. Bharat? Hello.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, now it is, sir.
Okay. So what I was actually trying to tell over here is, so basically I'm going to provide for the participants who are not from BW background. I've recorded a 30-hour session on BW. So those videos I'm going to, basically it can complement for HANA. So when you're basically attending interviews, it's always good to know some part of BW, especially when you keep a lot of experience. So for those participants who don't have any BW background, now I'm going to teach the participants who have BW background is something, this is will be useful, which is known as BW powered by HANA. Now before coming to BW, because I know before coming to BW on HANA, BW powered by HANA, you need to have fundamentals of BW that I'm going to give you as part of this course. You can learn by yourself, and if you have any questions, you can ask me. And once we complete this part, the next part would be S4 HANA. The topics on S4 HANA, which is a new generation product from SAP. So I'm going to cover the introduction to S4 HANA, introduction to simple finance, the new UI, which is SAP Fiori, and how the new data models look and how the configuration is done in S4 HANA. So all the topics on S4 HANA. The main focus for this would be S4H01 is a new book which is added to the existing course. So especially when we keep experience on HANA, when you keep more than 3 to 4 years of experience. Now for freshers it is okay because you can tell you always worked on HANA. Now if you have more gap, always it is important to either keep one technology. If you have more than 4 years of experience, a gap more than 4 years of experience, you always need to say, I came from BW to HANA. It's important because unless and until, you can also say your existing job. Basically, you can tell you're working as a .NET developer or a Java developer or testing tools. Now, if you're not working at all from 4 years or 5 years, at that point of time, giving more emphasis on BW would really add advantage. So that's where this 30 hours of course of BW will be really helpful for you. So I completed my demo for today. So in the I'll just try to recap what we have seen today. I started with the concepts to explain about in-memory, column-oriented parallel processing. And then we quickly went on to see in a sidecar scenario, or as a SAP HANA application consultant, what are our deliverables in the project, like data modeling, reporting, and provisioning. And finally, what is the course that I'm going to deliver for next 50 to 45 to 50 hours. So that's on the today's session. So if you have any questions, please raise your hands. I will try to unmute you. You can ask your question or you can type your question on the chat box. I can answer all your questions. So please do also attend tomorrow's session. So tomorrow's session would be explaining the landscape that we have. So what are the different systems that we have in our landscape and how you all can access our landscape. That is on tomorrow's session. And today, I'm really extremely sorry because of network issue. For 15 minutes I got delayed just trying to connect again and again, and there are little disconnections in between. The starting was not good, but anyway, I tried to deliver whatever I can with extreme sincerity. So if you have any questions, please ask me. I can answer your questions. So you can raise your hands. There's a hand raise symbol. You can raise your hands. I can unmute you. You can ask your question. Yes, Mr. Raja. Hello, Mr. Raja.
So I have a couple of questions. This ANA is basically it's a depending on software or hardware components.
It's mainly a software component, but also can be delivered
Okay.
as an appliance.
Okay.
But mainly it's a software component. Everything is on the software side.
Okay. And moreover, now you told me that Fiori is a new apps. It is for only it is available for EHP 7 or even it's available for EHP 4 also.
So it can be basically available for ECC as well as native HANA as well. On the native HANA, it can work directly without even EHP.
Okay, it is a high component, right?
Yeah,
It is it is an inbuilt component or anything we need to separate for this for a Fiori.
there's an inbuilt component in HANA which runs on Access Engine.
Okay, we don't need not to buy a separate package for this.
No, no, it is inbuilt component in HANA.
Because why I'm asking means because our project is a migration project, which is upgraded and now we are migrating to ECC 6 to EHP 7. So EHP 7, the component which they wanted to have Fiori and MRP runs and as well as data aging. So this will be coming together or any separate components are available for this?
You can add as an add-on. You can also have it as an add-on on EHP.
Okay.
But for HANA, it comes as inbuilt.
Oh, in build only.
Yeah, for native HANA.
Okay. And fine. So my last question, actually, I joined for this course to take up the HANA as well as I need some kind of ABAP support also because I'm currently taking this ABAP role. So
Okay,
I'm parallelly learning the ABAP, HANA for this.
okay, yeah.
Yeah, that's my concern.
So ABAP, we can talk to Bharat. So we basically have on-job support from Kaga Analytics. We have a company called Kaga Analytics. We have on-job support. You can talk to Bharat. He will
Okay.
give you more information about ABAP. Okay?
No, because I gone through your profile, I mean, your background and profile. So you are very good stock in ABAP as well as HANA also.
Yeah, I came from ABAP background, but we basically have few more consultants
Yeah,
who
yeah.
delivers ABAP. So we can support you on ABAP as well. No
Okay.
problem.
Can you tell me one or two points, where exactly ABAP will fit into this HANA migration project? Pre-migration or during the migration or any post-migrations?
So especially when you want to migrate your existing systems, we have something called DMO, data migration option.
Yeah.
So that is done by the HANA administrators. So during the data migration option,
That means,
you can migrate your existing application server. So that's where
okay,
the ABAP part will come and during the migration part.
okay, that's fine.
Thank you. Yes, Nagarjuna. So there is another Nagarjuna, the same name we have. Mr. Nagarjuna, Gokul.
Oh, yeah, Nagarjuna. So I have a couple of questions.
Yes, Mr.
So the
Gokul.
first thing is, hello? Yeah,
Yes,
yeah.
Mr.
What's
Gokul.
the difference between this business suite powered by HANA and S4 HANA, Nagarjuna?
So S4 HANA basically has simple data models, simpler tables, and Business Suite powered by HANA, it's the same application layer. There are nothing being changes done on the application layer. So how the ECC was the
Mhm,
same ECC, but only thing is the database now is HANA instead of MS SQL. So only when you change the database, when you switch database from MS SQL to HANA, it is known as Business Suite powered by HANA. But when the changes are done to the application layer, like you have more simple tables, you have
mhm.
views in ABAP, you can do configuration in native HANA, you can access applications using new apps, lesser data footprint. So if Business Suite powered by HANA has 50 GB, the same data can now be stored in a very simplified way in S4 HANA with 6 times the reduction of footprint. So simple data modeling,
Okay.
new UI, new configuration features,
Mhm,
less data footprint
mhm,
is nothing but S4 HANA, which
mhm.
basically has something called when you have FICO, here you have simple finance. When you have logistics, here you have S4 logistics.
So it's an advanced business suite powered by HANA.
Exactly.
Oh. So my question is, sure, certification was just a Nagarjuna, whether it's 2014, 2015.
2015, yes, 2015.
Okay, so this course would cover all the content in 2015, right?
Exactly. SP10,
Okay, yeah.
which is latest edition.
Yes, Pete. Okay, yeah, yeah, yeah. And do you also have a separate course for HANA admin?
Yeah, HANA admin, we have a separate course, but from a different trainer.
Hmm.
The trainer will be taking on HANA
Hmm.
administrator.
Okay, but Surya Academy has HANA admin courses.
Yes, yes.
Okay.
Surya HANA Academy.
And this course, yeah. So this course that we are attending now, is it only the online class or it's a combination of online as well as in-class session?
In class session, we don't have. I used to conduct before 2 years back, but because now my role little involves in traveling, so I don't basically now conduct in class sessions.
Mm-hmm.
Before I used to conduct, but
Okay.
we don't have that.
Okay. Yeah, and another thing is like now I'm in US, Nagarjuna, and I want to
Okay.
get back India for personal family reasons. So
Okay.
how the job scenario for HANA is in India?
So basically, if you see for HANA now, a lot of companies are building up practices. So a lot of companies
Mm-hmm.
are building HANA practice, and most of the time, you require senior kinds of roles, especially solution architects, vice presidents, who can lead the HANA practice, and even the developer roles are also coming up. Now, when I started 4 years back, the scope was very very little, but now, to tell you very
Mm-hmm.
frankly, I get lot of opportunities now. Now I'm basically settled now in one job, but still I get getting lot of opportunities in India as well. People calling, I mean, lot of consultants calling me on daily basis. They keep emails to
Mm-hmm.
me. Market is good. Market wise, it is very good.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Because keeping on improving from the day I started from 2011 until now, always it had tremendous job opportunities.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. So and would Kaga Analytics be able to help me in that aspect, like any person after this?
We can get, but most of the time we do freelance, means staffing projects. So there is no permanent roles actually. So all these are contractual jobs. You know, contracts mean you have
Oh,
six
okay.
months and 3 months. Heavy travel will be there. Especially for family,
Mm-hmm.
it not be much suitable. For freshers, it may be suitable for developer roles and all. But we have to do heavy
Okay.
traveling. Contract projects like 3 months, 6 months.
Yeah.
Yeah. But surely, if you want to
Yes.
looking for
Thank.
if you're looking for
Uh-huh.
short-term roles, surely I placed lot of people.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's also okay. Short-term role is also, I mean, I'm fine with that. I just
Yeah.
want to clarify if Kaga Analytics would be able to help me.
Yeah. Yes, sure.
Another
Sure.
thing is like I'm not a fresher. I'm already in industry for years. Now, how to map my profile?
If you can
So
just
I
send
worked
me,
in ABAP for some time, and
if you can send me your profile, I can have a look on once into deeper. Once I can look into deeper, and we can once more discuss personally about this. You know.
oh, okay, yeah, yeah, that would be better. Yeah.
Yeah. You can send me your profile. I'll just look into it once, and we can have one more time. We can
Hmm.
discuss offline. We can talk. I can
Yeah.
ask Bharat to patch up call between you and me. We can talk together.
Yeah,
Okay.
because I rather to come BW with HANA or ABAP with HANA, I don't know how to proceed further. So I'll send the profile and we'll discuss further.
Okay. Thank you.
Yes, thanks, Nagajan. I'm done with
Thanks.
my questions.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you so much. Ishwari, hello. Ishwari, your voice is very low. I'm a little unable to hear you. If you be a little louder. Still, the voice is coming very low. 1 minute. I'll just try to increase my
Now,
volume. Yeah, now it's okay. Yeah, now it's fine.
actually, my is that currently I'm working as the above to experience.
Okay.
Hello.
Yeah, please tell me.
Yeah. So, is it good opportunity for me to move into SAP HANA?
Your background is ABAP, is it? Hello?
Yeah, yeah. My background is ABAP.
And for any when participants who are coming from ABAP, BW, so most of the applications that we will build is on HANA. So
Sorry.
most of the ABAPers from the past have learned HANA. I mean, especially I know a lot of people in the past, 2 to 3 years back, where ABAPers have taken HANA course and they shifted the career to HANA. I know a lot of people who are from CSC,
Then,
CSC Chennai.
oh, okay, fine. Surely, currently I'm good. Going to change. So, thought to learn HANA and the good day for me should get the good opportunity in Bangalore. So that I am planning.
Yes, yes, yes.
That's it. Nothing.
Because most of the SAP applications now run on HANA, so always it is better to have new generation technologies to be competitive in the market at least. So to be competitive and
Yeah.
to get a better, always, yeah,
That's it.
yeah. Thank you.
At my current project. Hello. Hello.
Yes, please. Your voice is a little breaking, but somehow I'm trying to understand. Please go ahead.
And I think probably.
Or we can do one thing. I'll ask Bharat to patch up call with you. Okay, we can talk. Yes, you can leave me email. So anyone basically wants to leave me email, you can basically leave me email on nagarjuna.k@gmail.com. Yes, you can leave me email on this. I'll ask Bharat to patch up call. If you're unable to talk now, we can talk on the conference call. This is my email, nagarjuna.k@gmail.com. Nikos? Nikos, you wanted to ask a question?
From my side, yes. Um, First of all, to congratulate for the glad that I will follow the following session today. Has single finance. I'm going say from single finance and that I have about simple logistic. When do you think that simple is going to learn from SAP?
So already the solution is released. Even I distributed some material on my LinkedIn. If you can follow my LinkedIn, nagarjuna.k@gmail.com, I have basically released a document on S logistics. I think yesterday, day before yesterday at night at 9 p.m., I've released one document on simple logistics. You can basically download if you are following on LinkedIn, or if you can drop me an email, I can basically forward the document. But the solution is released now. The simple logistics solution is released, which is generally available from SAP.
Perfect.
If you need, I can send out the document.
Okay.
If you want,
And
I can send out the documentation to you.
Yeah, sure. If you can, yes, please.
Yeah, sure. And also, participants, whether you may be enrolling or not enrolling this course, you can always follow me on SAP S4 space HANA. So this is basically, I have a group. So there are more than 1,000 people who basically enrolled for this group, and I keep posting lot of new materials in this group, which is SAP S4 HANA. So there's the group on LinkedIn, and also you can keep following me on LinkedIn. I keep posting lot of blogs, lot of materials on daily basis, latest updates. You can keep following me on Twitter or in LinkedIn to get the latest updates on HANA. Always.
Okay. And of course, I want also to if there's a course in the area of Southern Europe where I'm based.
Okay. Okay, Nikos.
My question.
Nikos, could you please repeat it again? I'm just, I think due to network again, I got disconnected.
Can you hear me now?
Now I can hear you yeah, I can hear you very well. Yes, please.
Okay.
Yes.
What I want to tell you is that after finishing this course, I want, if you have any project, any opportunity in the area of Southern Europe, because I'm based in Southern Europe, to join in area of SAP HANA, because I'm experienced.
Which location are you in Southern Europe? Which location?
In Greece.
In Greece, okay, okay.
but I don't mind to travel. I mean, in Europe.
Because most of the opportunities, I get from Middle East, from Riyadh, and Saudi Aramco, Al Khobar, Dubai.
Okay.
So these are the these are the places which are near to you where I get opportunities. And
Okay. Let's discuss.
there are opportunities for a company called AEC, Advanced Electronics Company in Riyadh.
Okay.
So recently they had a lot of HANA opportunities. It's called an Advanced Electronics Company in Riyadh. They implemented projects, and even I also worked, and they require more consultants now. Also,
Okay.
there is one more company in UK called Go Ahead Consulting. The company called Go Ahead Consulting in UK. They're based in Surrey in UK, and they mainly deal with HANA consulting. So even if you want, I can refer
Good.
to them as well.
Yes, sure.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you. Bharat Kumar. Are we Bharat Kumar? Are we Bharat Kumar?
Hello.
Are we Bharat Kumar?
Yeah, this is me.
Yeah, Bharat Kumar.
Yeah, basically, I had a question that, see, today's session, even though it was good, half of it I couldn't follow because of the problems in recording. So, is there a way I can get this recorded session anywhere?
Yes, I'll send out the recorded sessions to you. I'll keep it in a common drive or a link. I can share the link with you. And I know today it was my very bad day, and somehow it went on. But I know because in the recordings, it is very clear. I mean, you don't have this network issues at all in the recording. So after the session is over, I'll just tell Bharat to distribute the session. Just give me 1 hour. I will upload and I will get the link
Okay.
and then distribute within 1 hour or 1.5 hours once the session is over. Okay, I'll just distribute the link.
And as far as the practice is concerned,
Yeah.
how is it going to be
So practice,
shared? How is it going to be shared?
we will give you something like an online server. For example, if you see, if I click on the remote desktop connection, so this is the IP address
Yeah.
122.175.39.11. You basically have to connect to the remote desktop. So every participant will get a user ID and password. They have to basically enter the user ID password, click connect, and then you will be in the remote desktop now. So all the exercises that you will do will basically
Okay.
done in the remote desktop. We all share the same common server and same user ID and password once we are inside the remote desktop. So for example, let me open HANA Studio. So this server you will have an access until for 4 months. So 4 months of server access will be given to you. And later if you want to extend, you can even extend the server access if you really require.
Okay.
So you can connect like this.
Yeah, that's all I had to ask.
Yeah,
Thanks.
you're welcome. Joel?
Yes, sir. How are you?
Hi Joel, I'm doing good. How are you?
I'm fine, sir. I'm fine.
I recognize your voice.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Can you hear me now?
Yeah, I can hear you, Joel. Yeah, I can hear you.
Yeah, sir. My question is to learn this SAP HANA S4, I mean the latest version of HANA,
Yeah.
do I have to learn the knowledge about finance and logistics domains in SAP?
Basically, if you see, there's something like this. Let's say you want to become a HANA consultant. Let's say there are two aspects over here. One is to become
Okay.
SAP HANA logistics consultant. The second one is SAP HANA finance consultant, S4 HANA finance consultant. Or you want to become S4
Okay.
HANA application consultant.
Okay.
So
Okay.
for becoming an application consultant, you require HANA and S4H01. Now, if you
Hello.
want to, yeah, if you want to go for finance, then it
Okay.
is required to learn FICO,
Hmm.
and then you can move on to S4 finance. Now, that is mainly people who are coming from functional background. For them, it is mostly suitable.
Oh, okay.
If you're from FICO background, you can go
Okay.
for,
But
yeah. But again, even for them,
since I have.
but again, even for them who are coming from
Mhm.
functional background, it is always necessary to understand the fundamentals of HANA. Like 20% of
Okay.
HANA would be mandatory, no doubt about it.
Okay.
And then they have to come to S4H01. Then they can move on
Okay.
to finance or logistics.
Okay. And sir, since I have this background of BIBO, BW, how far would you think would this H4 SAP HANA S4 would be suitable with that thing? I mean, like currently I'm looking for SAP BI consultant or BI architect roles.
Okay. So basically,
So how far would it be relevant to the current field that I am in?
it is only an add-on. For example, because I remember you are, because you already learned HANA from me in the past. And
Yes,
even
sir. Yes, sir.
now, basically, the S4 HANA knowledge will be surely be an add-on. There's no doubt about it. Because there's a new release from
Okay.
SAP, which is BW's NetWeaver 7.5.
Okay.
BW
Okay.
NetWeaver 7.5. There's a new release from SAP
Okay.
where they have very
Okay.
tight integration with S4. So if you see from that point,
Okay.
if you see from that standpoint, obviously it will add value to you. No doubt about
Okay.
it.
Okay. Okay, sir. And if I'm for example, let's say I'm going for a HANA certification,
Okay.
uh, would that be required for the BI view as well, or do I have to do separate for that?
So BOBI, you have to do a separate certification for that. For BOBI, you have a separate
That's
certification.
completely different from this HANA certificate.
Yes, completely different.
I mean, like having a HANA certification doesn't would it imply that I have the knowledge of BI BO?
No, it doesn't. No, because you have a separate certification for that. It only
Okay.
you'll be only eligible to apply for HANA jobs rather than applying for
Okay.
BOBI jobs. You can write a separate certification
Okay.
for
Okay,
BOBI.
sir. And yes, sir. Sir, finally, I'm traveling back to UK, sir,
Okay,
next week.
okay,
And you shared with me that you have spent some time there in the UK.
yeah.
So, can you please share me any leads or contacts that would be helpful for me in this job search?
Surely I will surely do that. As I just discussed about Go Ahead Consulting, right? They're looking for HANA positions. A lot of HANA positions
Okay,
they
sir.
have. His name is
Okay.
Rudra Mishra. So
Rudram.
Rudra Mishra. You can
Okay.
just type in Google Go Ahead Consulting, or even you can call Bharat to basically have a conference call.
Okay, sir.
He'll patch you up. He'll patch you up.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
Okay, sir.
Thank you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
So next we have one more participant. I think. So Kasi Boina, I saw your raised hand. You wanted to ask some question?
Yes, sir. Actually, I'm a fresher. Is there any chances for fresher into the SAP?
Yeah, Kasiboyan, I mean, for freshers, like Infosys, they're recruiting freshers. In this year, I know 4 freshers got recruited from 2014 batch. So Infosys, Wipro, if you have a background about SQL, if your background
Oh,
is from SQL, and if you have a very, I mean, if you have foundation on HANA, then surely you can get opportunity as a HANA developer. So it's I mean, most of the time you spend working on HANA as a developer role.
okay.
Okay.
And may I know in this course, is there any chance for application development?
Yeah, application development, yes. So most of the time it is navigation, but there are times where you have to write code as well in the SQL script. That is a very easy part, and we use something called C functions, which are predefined functions we have to use.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. So let me basically go to the chat and see what questions we have here. Hema. So one question, will you cover all the topics on the data provisioning? Yes, I'll cover in detail all the questions on the data provisioning. Rest, I think I've answered all these questions that we have. Any other questions anyone have, please? Any other questions, please? So Kumar has a question. Can we create Z tables in HANA? Yes, you can create. So basically go expand this HANA instance, go to the catalog. You can go to HANA user and then you can create these tables. So you have tables. Just create a table over here. And these are column tables. Column tables and row stores, column stores. So thank you everyone. I will send out this demo to everyone who has attended and who may not, I mean, who did not attend and due to disconnections. I'll send out this demo, and also if you can also basically go through these additional demos that I have on the YouTube. So probably you can go to the YouTube and you can also look into these demos. I'll just show you on the YouTube. So Bharat will send out, you can just type in Nagarjuna Kamireddy. You can type in Nagarjuna Kamireddy in the YouTube. You can get all the, I think I have 2 to 3 classes I've uploaded in the YouTube. They've been Nagarjuna Kamireddy. Thank you once again, everyone, to attend today's session. And I'll see you tomorrow, same time, yeah, sharp at 9 o'clock. We'll meet tomorrow. And tomorrow we will have, I will mainly focus on the system landscape, on how we can access different systems in our landscape. Thanks once again. Yeah. See you tomorrow. Have a good night and good morning to everyone. Thank you.